Wait, it says leave meeting. It says got it. What do I put?
Got it.
How are you?
Got it?
Got it.
Got it.
Showing up.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Who's got to click on got it?
Hi.
These meeting is being
Hi.
live. You don't want.
Hi. Rabbi Cass.
Hi, Lori.
No.
Amy, how are you?
See who else is here.
Yay, people here.
Uh-oh. Eric and I is sitting in the same seat.
Uh-oh.
How did that happen?
It's a very crowded seat.
Yes, it is.
She's such a beautiful lady.
Hello, Alan.
Uh-oh, stands in the same seat. I think Ellen is pretty close.
Yes, we're all in the same seat.
Les.
Again, I'm sorry that we have to be online again this year. Those of us who are in the sanctuary are both vaccinated, and we all just got negative tests, which is why we're not wearing masks. I want to welcome you who are joining us on Zoom and on YouTube. I hope that all of you had an opportunity to pick up prayer books. If you did not pick up prayer books, you could still come in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to get your Yom Kippur prayer book. And otherwise, I hope that you will be able to enjoy the service either way. We are going to begin tonight on page 6 in the prayer book.
No need to hide, arms open wide. We gather as one to make a makom kadosh. We come to tell, we come to hear, we come to teach, to learn, we come to grow. And so we say, the time is now. Sing to the one. God's presence is here. Shekinah, you will dwell among us. We'll make this space a holy place. So separate, so whole, rejoice every soul who enters here.
It's my pleasure to invite Ruth Belay to unmute herself and do the blessing over the candles for us.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded in everything you do to be a menorah, a bringer of light, live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you filled the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on this festival. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu lazman
We turn to page 13 in the prayer book. This autumn night, the shades of darkness in the sky are signs of Earth's turning, the fleeting ways of nature. And we, drawn together in this holy space, whether in this physical space where we are or the online space where we meet one another, we are filled with New Year's hope and light. We turn our hearts toward you in prayer, in worship, seeking life's essence. In the presence of your love, we feel the nearness of those who bless our lives, even in death. Precious memories of their love restore our strength, renew our faith in life's goodness. We acknowledge with gratitude the life that you have given us, the bounty that sustains us, your comfort in sickness and sorrow, your compassion in valleys of despair. God of years, God of eternity, bless us now and always. Bless our homes and our families. Be with us in our dreams and in our hopes. Be with us through these days of awe as we search our souls within and seek the lasting shelter of your love. Page 15.
Baruch atah Adonai shomei kol teruat amo Yisrael berachamim. Tikeu v'chodesh Shofar, v'kesed leyom chagenu, ki chok leYisrael.
Something is coming here.
Ad leElohi Yaakov. Hallelujah, b'teik hashofar. Hallelujah, b'teik hashofar. Hallelujah, b'teik hashofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah. shofar, hallelujah, betake a shofar, hallelujah, hallelujah. At the new moon, at the full moon, for a feast day, sound the shofar. Hallelujah, betake a shofar, hallelujah, betake a shofar, hallelujah, betake a shofar, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Tekiah.
We continue on page 17 with Hineni, Here I Am.
Behold me of little merit, trembling and afraid, as I stand before you to plead for your people. O gracious God, the one enthroned by Israel's praises, Lord of compassion and love, accept my petition and that of my people. Let them not be put to shame because of me, nor I because of them. Sinners though we are, let our prayers come before you, innocent and sweet and pleasing as though from hearts more worthy than ours. Let love be a banner we raise in your sight, and
From tomorrow,
let
somebody.
love conceal all our sins and make them as though they had not been. Change our afflictions to joy and gladness, our misdeeds to acts of life. May a love of truth and peace remove all that hinders us from sincere and fruitful prayer. O God supreme, God of every age, let my prayer find favor. For the sake of the righteous, the loyal, the honest and upright, and for the sake of your own glorious purpose on earth. For you are the one who in mercy hears our prayer. Blessed are you who hearkens to prayer.
Page 19. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, yehi ratzon shenizkeh levirotecha bishnat chameshet alafim shva me'ot shmonim v'shtayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5782. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. The Baruch Hu is on page 20. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Page 23 at the bottom. The quickening of the moon calls us to return, and we gather, seem dwellers on the edge of the earth. As the sun lowers itself into the sea, introspection rises. A sliver cracks the heart of the firmament, the vast blackness an invitation to write ourselves anew. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limodeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu v'komenu Nasiach b'kukecha V'nizmak b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki cheim chayenu Be'orech yameinu Uvahem negei yomam v'layla.
Page 26. We accept God's sovereignty and reverence, treating others with love, devoting ourselves to Torah. May this be our will as we witness.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadivarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzvacha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam B'shivtecha b'vitecha u'v'lektecha v'derech u'v'shokbecha u'v'komecha u'kisharetam le'ot al yedecha v'hayu le'totafot b'neinecha u'kitavtam amezuzot b'techa u'v'sharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You can be seated. We continue on page 33, responsively. To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect, to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another with joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts, to break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being, to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, to break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help. Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation at the dawning of this year.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נערות תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך רוב ענך, בוקי היום לפני משה ומרים, זילי אנו והמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו ביד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 36. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let us proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield. Make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness, war, famine, and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now and till the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem.
The tefillah begins on page 42. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai, Sephatai tiftach, Ofi yagid tehilotecha. Adonai, Sephatai tiftach, Ofi yagid tehilotecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ve'Elohei Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lemon Shemo Be'Ava Zochreinu lechaim Melech hafitz b'chaim V'chodvenu b'sefer hachayim L'manecha Elohim chayim Melech Ozeh u'Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Amen Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia morid hatol Mikal chayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech naflim rafei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayim imunato Lishinei afar Vichamocha ba'al gevorot Umidom elach Melech meimid umechayeh Umatniach Yeshua Michamocha av harachamim Zochei tzurav lechayim berachamim V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Michayei hakol
Page 49, Atah Kadosh, V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah.
V'chein tin pachtecha Adonai Eloheinu V'al kol ma'asecha Ve'imotecha כי אם יראו וישמחו וישרים יעלוזו וחסידים ברינה יגילו Holy, holy, holy is God. Holy is the God of heaven's host. Holy, holy, holy is God. Holy is the God of heaven's host.
You may be seated. Page 53. Ata v'chartanu mikol ha'amim. You chose us with love to be messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us and made yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling. In your love eternal, our God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our people's going out from Egypt. Our God and God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance. Page 60.
Ritzvi Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel U'tehilei ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Amecha Korov lechol Kore'av Pnei El
page 62, I invite you to read with me. God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness. Morning, noon, and night, we call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope now and for all time. And for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be praised and blessed. Our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness, and may all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. Page 66 is Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha, Tasim Leolam, Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom, V'tov B'einecha Levarech et Amacha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ברכה ושלום. ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב לפניך. אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים, לחיים טובים ולשלום. Inscribe us in the book of life, blessing and peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch hu Baruch Shemo, Osei HaShalom.
We now continue quietly. If you have a prayer book, there are words on pages 68 through 71. But this is also the time when we can use the words that are in our own hearts. we continue quietly. May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. Our Misha Berach for tonight can be found on page 245. You're doing the regular one, right? Yeah, 245 at the bottom half of the page. I invite you, as has been our custom, to add names in the Zoom chat if you have not sent names of those who are ill into the office. Because we have a large number of people on Zoom today, I'm only going to ask you to add them in the chat rather than give you the opportunity to say them out loud to all of us. But of course, you may say names for yourself quietly if you choose. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing this evening Jesse Sakharov, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cubero, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Randall Rose, Arthur Rose, Barbara Weiner, Joan Lifshitz, Andy Glantzman, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Roz Bornstein, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Brooke Sisler Elephant, Eddie DeAngelis, Ira Goldman, Vicki Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Monica Beyer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Gary Paperman, Myron Jacobson, Judith Weiss, David Gershon, Ronnie Katlowitz, Stephen Doppelt, Stanley Tenon, Fran Arnowitz, Dr. Usha Gorty, Paul Markowitz, Pat Colella, Delphine Wolf, Bill McShane, Irv and Dottie Tabakman, Harvey Barkin, Leah Madelon, John Belay, Liz Yasuda, Mark Steiner, Marion Mandel, Sharon Moskowitz, Nicole Moskowitz, Celia Karp, Mimi Karp, Anne-Marie Rogan, Richard Zagam, Mark Holz, Shirley Amrani, Kyle McGee Sr., Joseph Martino, Florence Schoen, Cynthia Wilson, Stacy, David, Julia, and Lauren Mauser, Joellen Fox, Jeff Horn, John Carfisi, Jody Siegel Stein, Saul Siegel, Sal Comiso, Pilar Bonilla, Jerry Jaffe, Ruthann Sitter, Michael Moore, Dave Stanger, Elliot Wolfsey, Steve, those who are suffering in Haiti, St. Vincent, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Israel, India, Afghanistan, Silver Silva, Azwan Taylor, Abraham Kalesi, Elena RM, Chanel Camabach, Warren Feliz, Jimmy Jenkins, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Carol Rose, Donna McNeil, Amy McNeil, Julie Cicero, Carol Samuels, Marian Munoz, Ria and Yura, Steve Fisher, Debbie Lichman, Della Cohen, Shelley Samet, Tara and Jackson Kushner, Linda Kushner Silverman, Stephen Speck, Jerry Jaffe, Barbara Weiser, Mark Weiner, Roberta Seidman, Ron Cricky, Laura Cricky, Susan and Tony Vi, Art Torres, the family, friends, and loved ones of Kim Henson, Zizi Potsdam, Brenda McBasey, Brenda Katroser, Eve Heyman, Estelle Altork, Jean and Larry Green, Karen Silberman, baby boy Andreas, New Orleans, those who have been hurt with the flooding there, Maytav Feinberg, and Bambi Polk. Do you have any names that you'd like to add? We also include all of those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been hurt in other disasters than the ones we have already mentioned, whether natural disasters or human created. Page 245 at the bottom of the page.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu b'kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn now to page 74. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the works of their hands, you are our gods. But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt, and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. Please join me. We call you Avinu. As loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings. Accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu. As sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. Page 76, I invite you to rise if you're able.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, ve'alol aleinu, ve'tapinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kol dever, ve'cherev ve'ra'av, me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kol echotza, umastin, me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, kodvinu b'sefer chaim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, chodesh aleinu, chodesh aleinu, shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh aleinu, Shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu maasim. Aseh manu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh manu, tzedaka v'chesed ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vaneinu, Avinu Malkeinu Chaneinu Vaneinu Ki Ein Banu
You may be seated.
I wonder how many of you feel tired right now? A little sleepy, exhausted, maybe over it? What if I told you that Judaism has an antidote to the weariness and burnout? Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for those of you who are wary of needles, this antidote can't be injected into the body or taken orally. No, the remedy for fatigue requires some action on our part. But the action is actually intentional inaction. And Jews throughout the world have been doing it for thousands of years. This evening, as the sun went down, we not only ushered in a new Jewish year, 5782, we also formally began the Shmitah Year. Shemitah, literally meaning release, is the formal term for the sabbatical year. With origins rooted in Torah, the book of Exodus teaches that every 7 years, land is left fallow, debts are forgiven, and a host of other agricultural and economic adjustments are made to ensure the maintenance of an equitable, just, and healthy society. Well, many of us, myself included, cultivated a passion for gardening during this pandemic. We generally don't base our lives on agricultural cycles. So the concept of Shemitah can seem far removed. But more than a tool for farming, moderns have taken on the task of Shemitah as a call to just have a break, to unapologetically give ourselves permission for release, recognizing that this release in and of itself is holy. We know that rest is important, hallowed even. Shabbat, after all, is a day of rest gifted to us each week. But more than simply pausing, Shemitah demands that we reset the very cycles of our society, particularly challenging and changing the areas in which burnout might occur, both for the land and for all of the people who live upon it. Everything and everyone has a clean slate. Debts are forgiven, private land holdings become open to the wider community, and staples such as food storage and perennial harvests are freely redistributed and accessible to all. Now, these might sound like nice concepts if we're not the farmer out of work for a year and giving our crops, or the debt collector relying on income. When we have time to prepare, these releases are less shocking, less disruptive. But what happens when the very flow of our lives is interrupted by an outside force, disrupting our existence and dictating how we can and cannot move throughout our world? When a far-removed entity from another land or another time forces us to change how we live for an entire year, or maybe even more. How do we let go when the timeline is dictated for us rather than we ourselves are ready? Particularly in our modern American world where productivity is a value with accomplishments and results as the base measure of success. Maybe it was easier for our biblical ancestors. Sure, they had responsibilities, but they didn't have to deal with the rush hour commutes, a 9-to-5 job that's actually 24 hours a day, all while studying or taking the kids to school and myriad extracurriculars. It's easy to romanticize simpler times, and even easier to simply dismiss their practices and wisdom. Enter Trisha Hersey, an Atlanta-based theologian, artist, and activist with a background in public health, who in 2016 founded the NAP Ministry. Her mission is simple and radical at the same time: to reframe rest as a productive spiritual practice and to deprogram people around the concept that if you aren't doing something in the classic sense, then you're not worthy. For the NAP ministry, rest is a form of resistance, with sleep deprivation and burnout as a social justice issue. In Hersey's words, napping and rest are so important because rest disrupts and pushes back and allows space for healing, for invention, for us to be more human. It'll allow us to imagine this new world that we want, this new world that's liberated, that's full of justice, that's a foundation for us to really, truly live our lives. America is a startup nation, and startups demand full-time attention. When we look at our collective history, particularly for Black and brown folks and those who were enslaved, people have been treated in this country as human machines. And so, says Hersey, grind culture continues today to try and attempt to make us all human machines and not to see the divinity of who we really are. So rest is disrupting that history. Rest is undoing part of that history. And rest is allowing us to connect to our deepest selves. When we sleep, we honor our bodies, we give our brains a chance to download new information and disrupt toxic systems. As part of the project, the NAP ministry has staged nap-ins and set up installations with luxurious beds planted in public spaces, inviting folks to just take a load off. It should be noted that these installations were before COVID times. Now, to demonstrate this point, another version of this sermon could have been me setting a pillow and a yoga mat on the bima, laying down for 10 minutes, and napping. You are all in your homes or someplace that I hope is comfortable, but please do try to hold off on napping till the sermon is over. When we rest, we not only challenge self-notions that our value lies in our ability to produce, we also have a chance to regenerate, to step out of the production mode and into a sacred state of being. Imagine what our lives would be like if we prioritized letting go. Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi in the modern state of Israel, wrote extensively on Shemitah as a Jewish spiritual approach to moral life of our physical world, a lens to see and care for creation in terms deeply grounded in Torah and Jewish thought. Kook paints a picture of Shemitah as enabling a renewed connection to the divine life force in each individual and within us collectively. Like Shabbat, Shemitah quiets the tumult of the intervening periods and restores a more authentic relationship to ourselves, to each other, to nature, and to God. Something miraculous happens when we stop. We get to experience the power that nature knows, called dormancy. Dormancy, that which is holding, the heartbeat that rests, the hibernating animals all of winter, waiting and waiting. There are seeds inside each and every one of us, inside this culture, that cannot emerge because we don't know that dormancy does not mean death. Resting does not mean disappearing. What keeps us from stopping is that we are terrified of resting. We're afraid to even imagine the terrible things that we could feel when things get quiet. We fear that when we stop, even for a moment, the sheer enormity of our lives will overwhelm us. Our outspoken and unspoken fears, they speed up our lives. Like a stone being thrown over a lake, we have learned to skip so that we don't get too wet. We're terrified that if we let the stone fall, we'll disappear. And so we think that our speed will save us from the void. We dance around the security that is offered from touching what is underneath the speed. Can we let go of the obsession of finishing what can't be finished? The framing of Shemitah is not necessarily convenient. The cycle comes around whether we are ready for it or not. It doesn't take into account the larger context of what's happening in our lives. We follow in the footsteps and examples of how nature rests. More than for the landed nature, however, rest is an essential part of our nature as human beings, setting the rhythm of our lives. Violin virtuoso Isaac Stern famously said that music is what goes on between the notes. Rest is not a void. Rather, it's an essential part of the groove. I had the privilege of attending an outdoor performance of the New York Symphony Orchestra this past weekend. The most poignant moments, those that made my heart beat faster, that made me lean forward in my seat, that made the tears run down my cheeks. They were notes that swelled and reverberated after moments of quiet and after pause. In music and in life, we need the rest in order for the active parts to have meaning. So much of our lives are spent avoiding the voids. But what if we didn't? What if in our new year of 5782, we surrender some of our control over time and space, viewing it not as a curse, but as a blessing? A few weeks ago, in a service that our community led to kick off the month of Elul, my friend Neshama Karlbach shared the following poem. She let go. She let go without a thought or a word. She let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all of the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all of the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of all the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcements and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. My friends, may we give ourselves permission to let go, to release. May we let go of the internal voices telling us that we need to be doing more. May we recognize that simply being alive, breathing, existing is a remarkable and holy act. May we take naps and fight against the stigmatization of stopping. When forces beyond our control thrust us into a new reality, let us not dwell on what we have lost, but may we find potential in radical reframing. As we usher in this Jewish New Year, may we embrace these principles of Shemitah, of release, as a source of rejuvenation, bringing us renewed sweetness, energy, and connection. Shana Tova.
May this be a year of love and kindness. May strangers come to be friends. May truth and compassion always guide us. Amen. May this be a year of hope and healing for all of those in need. May all of our deeds be a blessing. Amen. A new year, a good year, a chance to start all over. A new year, a sweet year, a chance to bring us closer. May this be a year of selfless giving. May this be a year of peace. And may we forgive and be forgiven. Amen. A new year, a good year, a chance to start all over. A new year, a sweet year, a chance to bring us closer, closer to the ones we love, a world that we can be proud of, long as there are stars above. There comes a new year. Amen.
We turn now to the Kiddush. It begins at the bottom of page 79, and I would like to invite Gerard Sofian to unmute himself and read the Kiddush for us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Source of blessing, eternal El God, your majestic power creates the fruit of the vine. Source of blessing, eternal El God, in your majestic power you chose us to make known your aspirations among all the many peoples, making our lives holy through your commandments. In your love, eternal El God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day for the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful about peoples going out from Egypt, a unique place among nations. You have chosen for us, and your word is true. It endures forever. Blessed are you, eternal sovereign over all the earth, who sanctifies Israel in the day of remembrance. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechionu v'kiyimonu v'higionu b'zman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal El God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Please rise if you're able.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am חירום ממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את הזיכרון הזה יום תרועה מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ודברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל ויום הזיכרון אמן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה Amen.
We remain standing and turn to page 83 at the top of the page for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months or in past years at this time of the year. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 90. I invite you, those of you on Zoom, if you would like to add names of anyone for whom you are saying the Mourner's Kaddish this evening. as we remember those who have died in the past year. The Reverend Claude Park Street, Ida Houston, Louisa S. Butte, Perry De La Touche, Ira Roth, Roberta Hayrath, George Liss, Sylvia Tishkovich, Ellen Belofsky, Cindy Retagliata, Dolores Weinberger, Suzanne Leknos, Shirley Kafker, Lillian Ridley, Thomas Marinan, Meg Goldate, Marguerite Romeo, John Young, Isadora Frost, Fred Perlman, Bob Ira Kleinberg, Dorothea Schuring, Peter Brandenberger, Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Caroline McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Jay Roseman, Jeff Gold, Nina Moynester, Kim Henson, Barbara Farnacci, Linda Kushner Silverman's beloved husband, Joel Kushner, Minerva Horn, Francis Perricone, Damian Branica, Sarah Pitts, Stephen Klein, Dorothy Kurlander, Michael Harrison, Michaela Schaefer, Leon West, Larry from Hudson, Gilda Adler, Elizabeth Scala, Maureen Donovan, Bethia Bryce, Adam Hockerman, Davy Blumberg, Ramona Spooney, Gary Austin, Arnold Scharfman, Mordecai Cohn, and Perry Kravitz. We include also all of those who have died in recent disasters, including the fires in California and the Pacific Northwest, the hurricanes in New Orleans, Hurricane Ida here and in New Orleans, the earthquake in Haiti, the volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course the human-created disasters as well, including those who have died and are dying in Afghanistan, those who were killed by the bombing outside of the Kabul airports, and all of the others around the world, whether they perished in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. On page 90, I invite you to rise and join in with the mourners' Kaddish, or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yamru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated.
shalom b'meromav. Boyase shalom. Boyase shalom aleinu. Yase shalom aleinu. Ve'ol kol. Ve'ol kol. Ve'ol kol. Yoshvei tevet. Ve'yemeru amen. Ve'yemeru amen. We ask for peace on earth, and we say amen. Ve'yemeru amen. Ve'yemeru amen. We raise our voice as one, and we say amen.
I'd like to invite our president, Adrienne Knoll, to unmute herself and give us announcements.
Good evening, Shana Tova, to everyone sharing this great big virtual space with us. It's really lovely to share this experience with everybody. I want to thank our clergy, Rabbi Hoover and Rabbi Pinsky, our cantorial soloist, Noni Schuster-Donato, our wonderful pianist, Michael Tornick, for setting the perfect mood with this lovely, lovely service. And thank you to Mike Rose for making sure that the audio has just been great. I know Mike put a lot of work into this, so it is much appreciated by all of us. And thank you also to Ruth and to Gerard for doing the candle blessing and the Kiddush. And tomorrow we reconvene here at 10 a.m. on Zoom. You should have the links in numerous emails by now. And then at 1 o'clock, we are having an outdoor family service. The weather is just supposed to be lovely. It's supposed to be high 70s, sunny. So bring yourself, bring children, bring your neighbors, and bring masks because you will have to keep them on. And at 2:30, we are doing Tashlich in Prospect Park. People walk there together, or you could drive there, but it's right inside the Parkside Avenue entrance, I believe, and the link with the map is already in the link that you received. And that's it for now. Tomorrow, I will give you additional updates for day 2.
Adrian?
So, yes.
Will the prayer book be online tomorrow? Because I didn't see anything tonight.
That's a no.
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 Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, have a good evening, all. Happy New Year, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
I'd just like to remind everyone that we had encouraged people to pick up prayer books at the office or ask for prayer books to be delivered to you if you couldn't get to the office. If you want to come by in the morning, we will be here and you could get a prayer book, but probably what would be better at this point is just to wait after Rosh Hashanah and you can pick up a Yom Kippur prayer book later on this week, and then you'll have that.
And we can also drop a link in the chat to a flip book online that's available through CCAR Press.
Or maybe we'll just email that out instead of dropping it into the chat because I don't have that link handy at this exact moment.
Tomorrow, I meant not.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, we can do that tomorrow. Thank you, Rabbi Pinsky. We are going to conclude our service tonight with Adon Olam. It is on page 94, and I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adon Olam, Hashem Olach, V'teiren kol Yitzin Nivra, V'yetnas את הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גולי, וצוחק לי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנות חוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישן ואירה, ואם רוחי גוויתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Shana tova umetuka. May you have a good and a sweet new year.
Shana tova, everybody.
Please feel free to unmute if you'd like to greet each other.
Shana tova, everybody. A healthy and happy new year.
I'm leaving.
How are you doing, Sarah?
Beautiful service. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Deborah.
Thank you so
Shana
much.
tova.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Have a
Shana
great
tova,
night.
everybody.
Shana tova.
We on
Shana
camera?
tova.
Yes, you're on. Oh, I'm on camera.
Tova.
You're on camera.
Good
Debbie,
service.
smile. Come this way.
Good service.
Great service.
Lashana Tova. Good
Shana Tova.
service. Nice to
Debbie.
see everybody.
Shana
Debbie, see?
tova. Hey,
Hi,
Shirley.
Shirley. How you doing?
Hi.
I missed that.
Hey, Lori.
Hi, Shirley was just talking.
Nice to see everybody. Hi, John. Hi, Gail.
Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
Mary Lou.
Oh, there's Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Shirley.
Shirley.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Hi,
See you all tomorrow.
Nice to see you.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Shana
night.
tova.
Shana
Shana
Tova.
tova.
I'm clicking it and it doesn't work.
David.
What? Emma.
There we
Emma,
go.
how are you? Hey,
Oh,
darling. Good to
Emma.
see you too.
Hi. It's
so good to see
you. Yeah,
Nice
Emma,
to
you look
see
good.
you too.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm eating
some fish for dinner.
That's all right.
Good.
We
We
didn't
did that.
finish either. Very good. Rabbis, it was really wonderful to
nice.
see
Such a
everybody.
lovely service. Great job.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I'll see them. Oh
How
my
you
God.
doing, Jane?
Okay, thanks, Freema. You?
I will call you. I will
Okay,
call
thank you for your cards. That's why I called you. Thank you for your cards.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Hi,
You're
Debbie. How
welcome.
are you, Debbie?
Joy. Debbie's camera. Oh no, you could see her
Hello,
now.
Debbie.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Night, everybody.
Okay.
She's
Hi,
okay.
Eric.
She's in this
How's
crazy
Jose?
house. It's
Is
okay.
Jose better?
Thank you. Sort of.
Oh, dear.
No, it's okay.
Yeah?
It could be
Okay.
worse. It
Good
could be much
night, everybody. Good
night,
night, everybody.
Good
night.
We're here. We're here.
Okay.
I'm staying on. I'm staying on for a little.
Yes, we
Okay.
have to
Good.
live
I
and
have to
good.
get
we
off,
should.
unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Good night. Good night,
schedule.
Frima. See you in the morning.
Mary Lou.
No.
Mary Lou, where do you live in San Diego? If you want to do Tashlik together.
There you go.
I live in Escondido.
Okay. Okay. That's not far. I mean, I live in Del Mar.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Tashlik inland with some wild bird seed.
Oh,
I
nice.
won't be
That's
doing
the way.
Yeah, I won't be doing Tashlik at the ocean with fish food. I won't be with the Temple H. Ramon group. I can't get there that quick enough. So that's where I'll be.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well, why are you using bird seed? Out of curiosity, I'm just curious.
Well, the wild bird seed's what to use near fresh water.
Better. Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah, never ever bread. Never.
Is that more environmentally friendly than bread?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
The bread is very bad for the birds, and
I never heard that.
It gets.
I'm surprised.
It's very bad for the birds, and it's very bad for the water. The water gets all moldy and fungusy and icky.
Oh, you're right. Like the yeast and stuff. You're right.
So yeah. So the wild bird seed well for the fresh water, and then the fish food I get from the aquarium. The aquarium store.
Wow. You give out. So the guys who's ever going to the salt marsh, I did the salt marsh one year in Brooklyn, but you guys should use bird seed and fish food.
It's a good idea.
Cool. Absolutely. And millet.
Yeah, millet is great.
Is millet also okay?
Millet's great. The birds also like grapes, and they like shredded lettuce and
No.
Oh my gosh, I need to write all this down. Grapes, shredded lettuce, millet.
There you go.
I love getting creative.
It's good for the health of the
See, you
birds
come,
and
you
good
get
for
an
the-
environmental lesson to start the new year.
Well,
That's right. That's right.
I'm just going by what the California Department of Fish and Game told me.
Good.
So I consulted with the people who know what they're doing. So I don't know what I'm doing, but
You sound like you know what you're doing.
I have resources. Do you want my phone
You sound
number? And give me a call
convincing.
sometime?
Yeah, we should call each other sometime.
Okay.
I'm putting my number in the chat. You can also send it to me too, but I'm quick to draw.
Well, I was just gonna give it to you. You're in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'm in the chat, but you can also just give it to me. I can write it down.
Wait, 858. You're what? 858.
858.
That's our San Diego. That's one of the San Diego areas.
Cool.
7354016, and it's Emma Rose.
That's right.
Yes, Emma Rose.
Yes,
Okay.
Really good. You do look
guess-
really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead,
I
give
love
her your
you guys.
full name. Confuse the heck out of her.
Exactly. Yeah, you know my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember my full name.
So it's
Yes.
858-735-4016.
That's
Emma?
right.
Throwing,
Okay. I'll give you mine. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
760
seasons in
Okay.
the water for Tashlik instead of bread.
533
Okay.
289
Birds are not supposed to be eating
28 what,
bread.
99
2899.
99.
760-533-2899.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. We'll
Now
call
I
each other.
have Mary Lou's.
You don't have
I'm
Emma.
gonna call you one day.
And I'm gonna call you
I
one day
keep on-
too, Emma.
I keep on saying that, but I am really.
Sound like
After,
me already.
after these services, no.
We're all well intended. We all have good intentions, Frima. I think of you often.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Me too, but I love to be on this group. I am actually not going to be here for the next 2 days. I'm going to Forest Hills, Queens,
Oh,
my
good.
son's fiance's temple.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
So
Enjoy.
I'm going to have
You
an
enjoy-
experience.
You enjoy the rest of your Rosh Hashanah. Frima.
Thank you. You too.
Nice.
You too.
Thank you.
too.
Join by Yachad. She'll tell you all about.
Okay, that's good.
Is it
On
Deborah?
Saturday.
Wait, Frima, wait, who's sitting with you again, Frima?
Debbie.
Debbie, I
And
thought so.
I
It was
have-
Deborah. Debbie,
and I
Debbie,
have
are
my
you going
son.
to synagogue?
Hi,
Are you going,
Debbie.
are
Happy
you
New
going
Year,
with
Debbie.
Frima? Or
No.
No. And I have my son is here. Hold on.
Hello, who's here?
Yeah, this is
Hi, Larry.
this is Mary Lou lives in
Hello.
California.
Hi.
This is
Hi.
and his fiance,
She's
Sherry.
camera shy.
She's the one we're going to in Queens tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Here she is.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Oh, hi.
Oh, she's tall. You can't see her all.
Rabbi, will there be a link
This
tomorrow
is
to
for
the
short
prayer book?
people.
Right.
I finally had something
Robert,
for
we're
short
gonna,
people.
Robert, we're gonna try to do that.
Okay, if not, I'll come in. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I'll find it. I'll put
Either
it-
way, even if not, I'll come in.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I thought I got your face.
I hope you
Well,
won't have
Mary
to do
Lou is
that.
in
Okay,
California.
thanks anyway.
I would
Using a
encourage you
sitter.
to pick up a Yom Kippur prayer book after Rosh Hashanah, like on Thursday.
Oh, okay, because I've been using a sitter instead, so it's all right. Thank you.
You've been using what?
I use a sitter. It has everything in it anyway, so.
Well, if it has everything in it, then.
Well, it's not the same as you're using. That's no reason. I like to coordinate with you, but if it's too much of a trouble, don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, we're gonna get a link for an online one for tomorrow, but.
No, I misunderstood. I thought it was going to be online. I don't want you to go out of your way. I misunderstood the first announcement. I thought it was going to be online and in person, but I misunderstood.
What was gonna be online and in person?
I thought that there would be a PDF of the prayer book online in addition to the actual prayer books, but I misunderstood.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Okay, but you can still pick up a Yom
thanks anyway.
Kippur prayer book.
I just didn't
From
want you
here.
to trouble yourself.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, I'm gonna say
Right.
good night now.
thank you.
Good night. It was
Not
fun.
so bad, everybody. Take care.
Happy New Year to everyone.
No,
and
not
Happy New Year.
Topaz.
Not so far.
For you.